It is recording, right? I see
Yes.
it's recording, but
Okay, welcome to Karen Rice's Family Zoom Station, episode 11, Homeschooling Today. Make harmony your foundation. During the first part of this 1-hour show, I share tips and strategies that create harmony with kids. Then we open things up for Q&A and discussion. When I talk about harmony with kids, I often bring up the one rule. I've also called it the agreement method. That might be a little clearer. In any case, this is what it means. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, the one rule is applied. You find agreement. This is the rule. You do not move forward until there is agreement. It is the rule. When you follow it, you find harmony. You discover what needs to shift so that everyone involved feels good about the situation. It has never failed me when I have used it. Even though I had not isolated it and named it, it was very much a part of raising my children and doing my work as a Montessori teacher in our Montessori school and my work in public schools. This week, I'm going to share how to make harmony your foundation as a homeschooling parent. As I mentioned last week, one of the most important starting points is getting into a good frame of mind yourself. Last week, I gave some tips for doing this. You can watch the show on YouTube. Another thing to keep in mind is, what do your kids find interesting? Do they prefer to be inside or outside? Do they like it to be quiet or noisy? Do they prefer to be alone or with lots of other people, or with a friend or two? Do they prefer reading or writing, math, science, singing, or playing a musical instrument? Helping you with your work or helping their father with his? Riding a bicycle or dancing, playing sports or video games? Why is it good for your kids to do what interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they are interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. Now, it does not mean that everything that interests our kids is going to always interest them. They may be interested for 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 days or 10 years or even a lifetime. The point is following their interests, not the specific thing or experience that interests them. So please help your kids follow their interests if they need your help. If they ask for your help, please help them. If for some reason you really do not want to do what they are asking you to do, now is a perfect time to use the one rule. You can say, I really do not want to do that, so we're going to use the one rule to solve our problem. Here's the one rule. For us both to be happy, to feel good, we have to find what we can agree to, because we are each important. We each deserve to feel good, and there is a way to find agreement. You don't have to believe these 3 statements to be able to use the one rule, but as you use the one rule, you discover that they are built into it. I know just finding agreement sounds too simple. It is simple, and it works. That means it helps you find harmony with kids. It restricts you. Finding harmony becomes your only option. This is how I raised my kids once I decided never to force them to do what they did not want to do. Once I decided to help them follow their interests. This was also how I treated the kids I worked with. Besides helping you and your kids find harmonious solutions to your differences, whether it concerns following their interests or other situations, the one rule can also help create harmony between siblings. A common source of conflict is 2 kids wanting the same thing at the same time. Let's say you notice a situation like that. Voices are starting to rise. Before it gets into more into conflict, you go to them and ask, does anyone want some help? Usually one or the other or both start explaining their side of the story. Okay, so then explain what you understand about what they just said. If you got it right, they'll tell you. If you got something wrong, they'll tell you. So let's figure out how we can solve this so you can both feel good. Let's find something you both agree on. Because you are both important. Pointing to each, you are important and you are important. And you both deserve to feel good. So we'll find a way that works for both of you. You have done several important things here. Interrupted the movement toward conflict, reduced the negative energy by encouraging them to explain what they want help with, shifted the goal from getting what they wanted to finding a solution that they both agree to, and started 3 people, you 2, thinking of harmonious solutions. There is bound to be some solution that they'll both agree to. That has been my experience. There could be many, but there is at least one point of harmony in any situation. Kids tend to find harmony quickly. Be sure to stay with them until agreement is found. The idea is to help them gain the skills necessary to be able to solve situations like this on their own. When you make the one rule a common way to interact with your kids and help your kids use the one rule to find their own solutions, you have done a lot toward making harmony the foundation of your family. Helping your kids follow their interests then comes easy and natural. Thanks for being here. Now it's time for Q&A and discussion.
Hello, Miss Karen. How are you?
Hello, Batool.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Sorry, I was just a minute late because actually it was not connecting. I don't know why I was trying to, but it was not connecting. Heard
That's
everything.
okay.
I saw your slides. It was simply amazing. Amazing. I was just hearing silently whatever you were explaining about the interest of the kids. And can I add something in it?
Certainly.
Yeah, because you have raised a very important point, I believe, because if the parents they don't follow the interest later on, what I have seen sometimes, the behavior of the children become rude. Like they act rude. Sometimes, it's not necessary that every child expresses the feeling at that moment, but later on, at some stage of life, like he or she returns that back. Yeah, I like to do that, but you did not allow me. And sometimes this cycle keeps on, flowing again and just circulating again and again. Like mentality becomes like my parents didn't allow, why should I allow you? And this cycle does not stop. This is a very important issue which you discussed today about the interest. I believe that yes, there should be platforms and sessions like this, and parents should take interest in these types of sessions. This is the demand right now because over here the children are changing. The new generation is totally changed. We need to help them follow their interests, whatever, but in a better way, in a
Yes.
safe way.
Yes.
This is very important that we need to explain them. Like this is good. Okay, I'm allowing you this much if you like to, but this much is not good. And this part is like this. Like explain them, which will not only develop a strong relationship between the parents and the child, but also the confidence as well of the child will be developed that my parents allow everything to me. Why should I fall for other people or look towards other people? The jealousy factor will not be there. It's not only the parent is helping to develop the interest, but he is also or she is also supporting the child to gain confidence in life. Because at that age, when the child is only 4 years or 5 years, the interest will be to that level. Later on, sooner the child will grow, the interest will change. I remember my son, when he was like 3 years, he like by the way, I only have one son, so he likes to play bat ball. Wherever he used to go, he used to take ball with him. So whoever used to sit, he used to give ball to him. That just keep balling and I'll do batting. He used to enjoy that. Later on, that interest changed. He started buying that games, things, and gadgets, something like that, Beyblades and these types of things. Then these cars came, which changes the color and on. Soon, and now it's like PS4 craze, Xbox and PS4. So interest keeps on changing. I never discouraged him, but I just told him that what is in my limits, I can do for you. And you have to focus on your studies and this thing. Rest, this part is being given to you. What I need from you is a better student, a person who understands and supports me because I work, my husband works, so we all are working hard just for your career. I never pressurize my child for anything. I try to talk to him, sit with him, talks to him, and try to convince. Sometimes he even minds that, but he understands eventually, like, your one rule works. Okay, the agreement is this. Mama said that she will buy me this thing at this age. Fine, the agreement thing works. I really like it.
Yeah.
That is very nice. You just whatever you showed is really a very important issue, and it is very necessary that parents should understand this thing about the interest, how to develop, because sometimes I can understand that a parent or family has many children in it. For example, 3, 4, it's hard to fulfill everyone's wishes, but you can explain them. You can talk to all of them together. That this month, let's go for let everyone support his interest. Next month, go everyone, let's support her interest. Just like a family, they should work together.
Well, the thing about that is that as long as everyone agrees, but someone could come up with an idea that everybody likes even better. That's the one thing about the one rule is
Exactly.
it's putting the best of our minds together to find what works for all of us.
And
I think
supporting interests, yes.
Yes?
Supporting interest, I believe, also motivates the parents as well. When they see better thing in the child, when they see improvement in the behavior, they themselves feel, inside the motherly or the fatherly things tell the parents, yes, you are doing good. Your child is happy.
Yes, it does help. It helps a lot. Because some of this is quite different than what a lot of parents are used to. So when they see things working well, it helps them, it encourages them to continue doing this.
Thank you.
yeah. I wanted to say that just a little comment also about supporting interest is it's like I think it's so good point and really vital because I think it takes the sting out of education. Like kids, if they're coming from a public school system, then their interest is kind of like the prize they get for doing stuff that they don't want to be doing, which is so backwards, you know. But if you're
Yes.
really supporting their interests and they can really feel, wow, that's what I want to learn, that's what I really, um, it speaks to me, I get excited about it, and I can learn, I can spend a lot of time learning. Um, and I mean, I understand like maybe it's not just a one-on-one effort. So maybe people do need to cover bases that are not like first love, like mathematics or writing. There's certain skills that kids need to have.
The thing is that a lot of those skills can come along with what they really are interested in.
Exactly. If you're measuring for framing a painting, you've got to know how to measure and how to do fractions and how to get things centered. I did
Right, and
pattern
that's when
making.
those kind of questions will come up.
Right. Yeah, just living day to day, whatever you're doing, there's going to be math involved.
Right,
And
and
also,
reading.
and writing and
Yeah.
asking, writing letters or emails or different things. So that's such a very beautiful kind of way to, because the whole person, the student feels like a person. because their interests are valued, and the learning comes through that. Um, it's so painful to think on it, because you feel like how much kids are losing self-esteem because they're so controlled, you know.
Well,
So
I like to keep my thinking on the changes that are possible and that I want to be part of helping implement. I have a new program I'm going to be putting out very shortly. I've already started laying the foundation for it so that people can make sharing this their either a side income or their major income. I'll be writing up more about this, but this is the first that I've mentioned about this thing. So I'm pretty excited about the possibilities. So
it's wonderful. It would be very nice to hear about that more.
so anyway, that's why I like to keep my thinking in terms of this approach is going to be included in, like, a few days ago, Batool had an online forum, I would say, or something like that, and I got to be part of that. And there were 5 other educators very active in the world, in this country and in other countries. And so I would like to be able to include certain things like the one rule in to have it be part of what they do also, and what they share, and part of their programs. So but that's different than the other thing I was telling you guys about. So good to see you, Brian. Hope you're feeling much better.
I'm in a rehab right now.
I can tell.
I'm in a hospital bed and all, but
yeah.
I'm trying to follow everything you're saying, and it reminds me that traditional education and traditional parenting usually makes the adult the sole boss. And what you're doing here, and what you're doing here is you're having, first of all, the educator or the parent compromise a little bit, consider the needs of the student. The issue I have is students need direction. They don't always know what they want. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
They can't just say, all I want for supper, is candy. And then you go with that,
Brian,
yes.
There was, I don't know if you have seen this, and I don't know where I wrote it, but I did fairly recently write it. But this study happened a long time ago, and it's from a book called Diets Don't Work. And what happened was that there was a group of kids, and they were malnourished, and there was a room full of food, everything, including candy and ice cream and everything. And over in one corner, there was a big pot of gruel. And I don't know how this happened, but he wrote that almost every single child went over to that gruel. The gruel, they said, had all the nutrients that their bodies were craving. And they just they just ate the gruel and ate the gruel, and they basically ignored everything else. So that kind of made me feel like, wow, even in that kind of situation, because I before might have thought as you that they would go for the candy, and there may have been because he didn't say all the children, he said most of the children went for what they needed, the gruel. And my experience with as a Montessori teacher is that if kids have something like the one rule as a guide, they can be free to go to explore, to go after what they want, and they will find a good way. I mean, at any point, if you came into that Montessori school, you would see some children would be drawing, some people would be doing things in the kitchen, some people would be doing different activities on the shelf. Some kids would be outside riding bikes or digging, you know, in a place where it was okay to dig and make channels and run water. And some would be working at the tool bench with hammers and saws. But this was after they had gotten instruction on how to use hammers and saws, and it was seen that they knew what they were doing. And there was always people outside to keep an eye on things. But it was really just like a new child coming into this environment where there might be some kind of problem, but once they got focused into something that interested them, that all that disappeared, and they just flowed well with everyone. Even one little girl who was really a problem, within a couple of weeks, because I worked directly with her, within a couple of weeks, she was in harmony with everybody and just having a good time and doing the things that were available there to do.
So it does take time for them to learn the one rule of that, how it works, where it's a sharing process. It's not a selfish thing.
Well, for most of the children, the time was like 10 minutes. For this little girl, she was really troubled. She was, anyway, it did take me focused on her for 2 weeks. I was not working as the head teacher at that time. They called me. I was home writing my book, and they called me back and asked if I would work with her, and I did. So,
well, traditionally, the learning process as I saw it when I was in my younger days, um, would be kind of like what I call like the mug and jug theory. It's like you're taking knowledge from one thing and pouring it into the other thing as the curriculum says. But what you're doing here is you're opening up for more experimentation and going down different paths and things, but you still need to have outcome, right? Or or are you against having a specific answers to issues and problems? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think my answers are pretty specific. But okay, like just for an example, when I came to Las Vegas, I was substituting. And one time I substituted in a kindergarten class. And I saw more clearly there the whole process than I'd seen in I always worked with elementary students and as a sub. Anyway, but in the kindergarten class, they were supposed to do certain worksheets and everybody, was supposed to do this. I could see so clearly the different levels of ability, interest. It just was blatantly obvious that this was not working. It
but the
was working
teacher,
for a few children.
but the teacher left you a lesson to teach, and you were obligated to make sure that got done. You couldn't just go off on your own, or you couldn't
Oh
let this. You
no, I
couldn't let
didn't.
this. Right. You
But
couldn't
I
let the
could
students.
see how there were children that got this, and like in 5 minutes they were done. There were
Yeah.
children that it was just the right thing and the pace for them. There were children
Yeah.
like totally clueless. They had zero idea about what was going on.
Right.
And there was all the variations in between, and it just struck me, this is not going to work for these kids. A few,
Right.
a few, but
Do you think it worked when the real teacher was in the room, or it was just this is chaotic? Like, were they all on the same path because they could relate to their teacher but it was
I don't think
because you were a
so.
substitute? Okay.
I don't think so. I think it was their ability and interest levels that were at play.
Even though they were chronologically the same age, their mental capacities and interests varied.
Right.
And that's where a good educator or an administrator of education or just a helper to help students find their own way can realize these things. And not all people learn in the same way, but you could have
Right.
peer tutoring, and you can use a lot of different
Right.
ways to get your points across. I remember once I was asked in a Catholic school to teach the Hail Mary, and I taught it to them in Latin rather than English. And my point at the time was it was just memorization. There was no meaning there. But I meet people now that are people. They're not little kids, but they remembered that, hey, I was in that class, and I still know it. But now I know what it means. I have the the life skills and the experience to think back to something you taught me by route. But now I understand what you did. You implemented something in my mind. Another example that I like to use is math. The order of the addends does not affect the sum. You learn all these formulas and things when you're a child, but until you grow older and can apply them or understand them at a different level, it's just memorization. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes I think the kids they need guidance, to know which way to go. And I think it's not going to happen. Like you said, it might not happen in 10 minutes. it might take time. You agree with that?
Yeah, it might. It might.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, like anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 weeks is what my experience. So, and with older people, a lot longer. So,
In your ways,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
you always went the same way to work every day. You know, until there was a traffic jam and you still needed to get there, you found another route there that you never explored before. You know? Yeah.
Well, one thing I think I brought up at in one other meeting, probably you weren't with us. Are you familiar with Sudbury Valley School?
No.
Okay, Sudbury Valley School was started in the late 60s, I believe. And it's basically a school. It is a physical place. And but it's basically unschooling. All the students, it's a private school, and I don't know if it's like part day school and part resident. I do know it is resident, but whether they have day students come in during the day, I'm not sure. And now they have these kinds of schools apparently all over the world. And it is based on kids following their interest. And well, I guess it works, for some people.
We're saying non-traditional school is successful, and would that eliminate like military schools and things like that? Because they're seemingly not open, I don't think, to what you're suggesting here.
I can imagine they wouldn't be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
but if at some point, I hope they become peace forces. And
well, they're not looking for individual or creative ways. They're trying, the military schools and other schools for that matter, are trying to implement the thoughts, of the originators. But the world now is changing. People are tearing down statues and taking paintings out of the White House of people that had had values and stuff, and that will get us into a whole nother thing of talking. But I think there is some value, because people are a product of their society, and if things were acceptable when you were young and you really didn't have the education to make your own decision whether you were agreeing with it or not, there's a lot to be said for that. You know what I mean? For example, like Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. We don't believe in slavery, and maybe if he was here to defend himself, we wouldn't be tearing his statues down and stuff. It was just the way it was. I did a lot of reading where, for example, a lot of slaves, after they were free, they didn't know what to do, so they stayed on because they were taken care of. And I think what we're talking about, a lot of people that are in the army and in the service, they're told where to be and when to be there and what to think and how to act. And some people rely on that they're going to follow those rules and orders,
Well, I think that at this point, the people that are interested in this approach is who this approach is for.
Exactly, I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm not going against you. I'm just, for sake of argument, I'm talking it out, because I'm the first one that got reprimanded as a school teacher for going against, tradition, for trying other things and doing things that weren't ever looked at before. I was the first one to experiment in my life as an educator, and it got me to where I am today. Speaking of rehab, no.
I was wondering.
But did our other people leave? Or they're
No, they're here.
Oh, okay. I didn't want
But
to
they
hog them.
have muted themselves.
Yeah.
Can I add something over here, Miss Karen?
Please, Batool.
I was listening to Brian, and very nice. He said the things, and yes, these are certain facts as well. The thing is, in army or in military, we need strong persons. So from very childhood, the mentality of the child has to be that extent that he goes through when he grows up, because he has to defend his country, sacrifice his life even sometimes, leaving his family behind. So that is a totally different school of thought. But if we focus besides the military area, the normal schoolings, let's say even medicals, doctors, and other school, engineering, or whatever schools, over there, if we try to create peace and harmony, then even the armies can sleep properly. They won't be needing these war things and all. I'm very much against these toys like guns and all from the childhood. I don't know why. Since the very beginning, my father-in-law, I remember, he's late now. He used to tell me that he hates these types of toys. These should not be given to children, because when they are young, they use these things, and later on, these things develop in a passion, and they want the real gun in their hands. So I believe little things, these types of things are also part of the fact which actually destroys the peace in our country. Then when it comes to, like Brian said, like we can't tell our children about the supper. Yes, he's right. There's a difference between needs and wants. The child has to understand the basic needs of life is food, shelter, which we are providing. Besides that, whatever he wants is whatever in our limits we are going to give you. I remember my father, he used to take us to the malls, and my mother and father in the car while taking us used to explain us this thing. Like, we are going, don't touch anything over there. Don't ask for anything. If there's something we want to buy, we'll buy it first. But, exploring, that was something which we used to do, and we used to enjoy in just exploring and learning new things. Oh, wow, this is in the market. At least we know something is there. Still, like, we should not deprive the children from just even taking them in the malls if it's free and you can just have a explore. Let them take them. It will build a confidence level over there. They have the right to see. It won't cost you money. Yes, sometimes they might even feel that they could have bought, but later on, then you can show them another thing. See, right now you wanted that thing. Now look at this thing. So we can never fill up our wishes. So when you grow up, then whenever we have money, or let's do, if you like this thing, just have a pocket money, good pocket, save your pocket money. See how many you collect in your piggy bank, how much I can give you.
I think the learning process is what you're saying is you should feel that you are allowed or you are able to make mistakes. That might be what you're saying, but you still have to be careful, because you could hurt people or do things, that you just have to be careful if you go down another road. But it's a learning process, and I think you need to feel free to do that. It's kind of like playing jazz music. You have a foundation, but then you could take a solo and try different things and make mistakes, but you still come back to the basics. And I think that's what children need to have, a foundation. Otherwise, they can't just make up their own language, or we don't communicate.
No, they can't. They
Right.
must learn the family
That's
values
right.
matters a lot.
I always
Family values, yeah.
thought that undergraduate school and college was a time to learn from the experts. And then when you got into graduate school, that was a time to take your knowledge and expand upon it and be creative. And that, but you can't, like, I have a doctor operating on my foot. I wouldn't want him to say, hey, let's try this. And everybody's like, oh, okay.
That's for true. That's for true. But the thing is, even in old tradition, if we see in ancient times, we see that people at that time used to focus on physical health a lot of the children. They used to train them, little kids, horse riding, hunting, swimming, and all these things. But now at this century, we see more people looking towards schooling rather than in the early years focusing on the physical health of a child. So in the olden times, we see that there were the ages were prolonged comparatively now. There were less diseases than now. So there were things, according to time, I believe things change, but we also have to mold ourselves. We can't be firm to that extent that our children are walking in a different direction and we are walking in a different direction. We
Right.
have to show them, hey kids, we are not that old. We know what you're doing. So let's come and chat with us. We know we can help you out. Still, we are your parents. So
I
this,
think that's the whole point of what Karen's saying. That they
yes,
compromise from both angles, and we are on the same thing. We're
yes,
working together,
thank you.
not just
Yes,
one person saying, I'm in charge, I'm the leader. It takes us right back to like page 1 of Karen's book. Children aren't slaves. I find my daughter doing things like bossing my granddaughter around. Go do this, go do that. You know, why? Because I said so. I don't. The child needs to know why they're doing things, and they can't just keep going, why do I gotta do it? Well, you can't overdo it, but they need we we owe them an explanation, if it's for their safety or it's so they learn something, or if it's to help someone, you know, but they have to learn that on their own. But and it can happen.
coming back to Miss Karen, your point of interest, I remember one of my students, she likes unicorns. So when her mother came to me, she wanted her to learn reading and all, and she was not taking any interest. So the first thing I asked the girl, like, which cartoons do you like? Which characters do you like? She said, Peppa Pig. I like Peppa Pig, and I like that unicorns. So what I did, I made so many activities related to unicorns and Peppa Pigs. I draw and wrote words and spelling. When she came to me, she enjoyed learning. She started reading
Right.
because the mother even asked me that how come she only reads with you, she doesn't read with me. And I told her, because I try to take her reading in a direction where she enjoys. Because the thing is, our purpose is the child should read. Now I'm somewhat, adjusting myself, and she is also helping me. Now she's reading and I'm drawing things. A little effort from my side is also working. Then slowly, then I started new books with her. And then she used to miss unicorns. Okay, I'll teach you unicorn. Again, we'll go back to that. Just read this book to me. And then she starts. And now she's doing so good. Only a little bit of help, because children are very innocent, and when you try to talk to them and show them that, yes, we are listening to you and we want what you want. And you also help us a little like this. They really help you out. Up till now with me, this interest things have worked a lot. Even in my class, I remember I don't like presenting theories and making everyone sleep in the class, because even I feel sleepy sometimes while giving a boring lecture or something. So what I do, after my explanation or something, I just give 5 minutes for some some type of activity which wake them up. Hot seat. Okay, I'm going to make any one of you sit on the hot seat, and the whole class will ask the question. And if you don't answer, then you are not going to stand up from this hot seat. So they all used to be so alert during the lecture that Miss is going to make us sit in the hot seat, and they used to help each other. Like, you should answer, come on, she's going to take our break. And then if you don't have, so these little fun activities, sometimes making snowballs with learning, sometimes 1 minute rally, or different ways of I used to imply. And I believe even children want that interest in the subject, make it lively. So they learn. This
I
is what
used
I
to
have seen.
teach. I used to teach an ESL class in a big teaching theater at the local college, and
Wow.
I would bring in a ball, and I would throw the ball out, and whoever caught it, they're the one who was only allowed to talk. When they were done,
Okay.
when they were done, they'll throw it back to me, and I would throw it to someone else. But what it did was it made everyone alert because they never knew when that ball was going to come flying at them. So they had to stay awake, and they had to know, where we were and stay on task. But they were also able to have their own thoughts ready when it was their turn. And that worked well for me. Later on, I did it with a microphone.
Oh.
But you
Announcing.
didn't throw it, right?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
I have a
I was
saying,
just about to say.
anybody that throws a microphone has never purchased one.
Really?
Right. They
Really?
had this thing in comedy where they spike the microphone when you're done talking. So I came up with that one. Anyone that ever throws down a microphone or whatever, they never bought one for themselves out of their own pocket. That's for sure.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Miss Karen. God bless you. Great job.
Yes. I
Thank you,
apologize
Batool.
for the days I missed. I look forward to this every week.
Same here.
Cool. Me too. Yeah. There was something.
Yeah, me too. I was trying to myself.
Oh,
Thank you
okay.
very much, and really, I apologize also today. But I'm very, very happy, and I hope we can. I want to look more on the previous ones you did too.
And I'm very interested in, Karen, your new concept of how we could pass this information along to others and make it beneficial to us too, as like your core members here. If we could create some kind of income for ourselves as experts on what you're developing here. I'm looking for something like that, and I think we need it.
All right.
Yeah.
I would love to be involved in that.
Okay. I'll make sure that
I would like to put links maybe on my own website, something like that when you get it developed and we have a product.
It'll be an affiliate link.
Nice.
So that, and it's going to be through ClickBank, so that they take care of all the money side of it, and it's going to start with the membership site.
That's very nice. Very nice.
Because
me into.
I don't know, Batool, if you know, but I have a pretty extensive membership site with trainings and videos and
Really?
ebooks.
That I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
the way
that's
of the
what I
future.
thought.
It's where we're going. It's where we're going now. You're right on top of it.
I will put all this together during this next week. I want to get this going. And so you guys will be the first people to know about it, and
we're in a good
be able
place
to use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful is right.
Yeah, for a long time I've wanted to be able to provide incomes for people, and now this has come in front of me, and it's like, oh yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Cool.
Ms. Karen, any idea about the puppet show we were talking about? Any updates related?
I asked Leslie, but I didn't get a response on that question. And today she has a board meeting, so she couldn't come to this.
It was on last time.
What?
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said, Batool.
I said last week Leslie was unwell also. She told, I remember.
Right. Yeah, she was involved in the Parents' Day. And I think that just happened. Is that correct, Sera? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, yes, the station to be gone give for
I'm having
you know,
trouble with
recommendations. My audio also
yeah.
is
Anyway, so maybe
July 25, I believe.
oh, okay.
Just the forms had to be in by the 22nd yesterday.
Oh,
4
that
p.m.
was it. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so she probably just completed all of that. So maybe because she was saying she only had energy for one project at a time. So I think this
Yeah.
next one will be the puppets. So, and Brian has a huge puppet,
Yeah,
right?
I have a whole ventriloquist thing that I used to
That,
do.
yeah.
Wow.
I would love to revive it because I enjoyed doing it so much.
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out.
I used to do a drug education program with an alter ego guy of mine, and I love to bring it back. It's been a while, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so we'll be I will make sure that you get the information as soon as I have it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're progressing. We're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the oh, Sarah, I was thinking you might really like to see Batool put on this panel and with
You can invite, if I don't have a link, I could have shared. I have you this in every child is special. I have a link on Facebook group where
right.
actually I share things of like related to parenting and children and all. And we last week we had a very great session in which Miss Karen
Yes.
was invited. The speaker
Yes.
Carlos was there, Paul Wallace was there, Dr. Tariq Butt was there, Derek McCoy was there, Dan Scones were there. So you can see over then. Please do give me feedback over there as well. I don't have your link, so I could have sent you, but Miss Karen has, so maybe she can share with you guys.
Yeah.
Please do watch and give us links because we are also having like together. A mission is just to make a difference in the world, and education is the best way.
That's wonderful. I would love to see it, but there was a thing.
I'll make sure that you get a link to Batool's group so that
Okay.
you can see what she's up to too.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Really
so then I'll make sure I do that. I will get information on this new project and we'll find out more about the puppets. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. And
Thank you. You too. Take
I'm
care.
so
God bless.
glad
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
to be
you.
with you.
Everyone take care. It was a pleasure talking to you all.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Great
Thank
to
you.
see
Bye,
you.
Brian. Bye. Bye,
Bye,
Sarah.
Brian.
Bye, bye,
Bye.
Karen. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Take care.
See you
Take
next
care.
week.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
See you next
Hopefully.
week.
Okay. God bless you. Bye.
Okay.